Dear straight white man, clearly old stuff done by your ancestors still does affect us to this day.
Dear woke snowflakes, the rise of blacks into professional or high-level occupations was greater than the years preceding the passage of the Civil Rights Act of 1964 and the years following the passage of the act. Prior to the First World War, fewer than 5,000 college degrees had been granted to black students in the entire history of the United States. But by 1935, that number had increased fivefold. By 1947, black colleges alone granted in 1 year more degrees than blacks had ever received in all the years prior to the First World War. Increases in the number of doctorates received by blacks was also dramatic. Similarly, despite a widespread tendency to see the rise of blacks out of poverty as due to the civil rights movement and government social programs in the 60s, in reality, the rise of blacks out of poverty was greater in the 2 decades preceding the 1960s than the decades that followed. As of 1940, more than 4/5 or 87% of black families lived below the national poverty level. By 1960, this had fallen to 47%. Poverty rate among blacks had been cut in half before entering the civil rights revolution or the Great Society. Social programs began in the 1960s. The continuation of this trend can hardly be automatically credited to political developments, though such claims are often made, usually ignoring the pre-existing trends whose momentum could hardly be expected to stop in the absence of such legislation. By 1970, the poverty rate among blacks had fallen to 37%, yet a whole generation of black leaders, intellectuals, and activists have been committed to such movements and programs and their accompanying rhetoric. Official census data show that blacks had slightly higher marriage rates than whites for every census from 1890 to 1940, but far lower marriage rates in the 1960s on forward.